And I want to bring in, Father, bless your word in this reading. You know, that the people that are secretly meeting in all of these places, frankly, wherever they meet, whether it's Bilderberger or whether there's any in secret meetings apart from that, leading up to these bigger meetings, because there's lots of talk before they get to the big meetings. Because when you're going to a big meeting, guess what you set up? You set up your agenda, what you're going to talk about, what the focus is going to be, and what you wish the outcome to turn out for. That's what they do with Bohemian Grove. The Bohemian Grove is no accident, as we all know. There's a purpose for it. And what's the purpose? One, bringing everybody of power in the whole world together. And guess what? They get that done. Not everybody shows up, though. They have remote. They remote in different ways. Of course, with today's technology, and even 20 or 30 years ago, it was easy to satellite in your person and be there though you weren't there. That way, you have anonymity. Mm-hmm. You didn't get seen driving in or out of it. And there's a lot that do it that way. You know why? Because they can get there and be in denial. Plausible deniability. Well, I've never been to the Grove, and they're not lying. But have you ever been part of anything regarding the Grove? I'm sure there's a lot of people that you would not even imagine being part of the Grove who are, and may be integral to it. And, the big people that go in, you can probably assess that remotely Vladimir Putin would be part. Maybe Netanyahu would be part. Who, at this point, all the world leaders are tied somewhere to Bohemian Grove. There's several levels of people. There's the ones that go to the Grove, and then there are the levels that are outside that remotely come in. And they may do it in teleconferencing, or they may do it, who knows, maybe they use free conference call. Who knows?
Hey, for people who don't know about the Grove, we got the YouTube stream going back up, and Shannon's VIP wants to know. She said this person says they know nothing about the Grove. And this is a big thing because even the people that work at the Grove know nothing. They know nothing about what's going on in there. They are so compartmentalized that there's so many different things that are going on there. Let me ask you this, Walter: if you had to explain Bohemian Grove in one sentence, maybe two, what would you say?
First of all, I would say it is an exclusive club. You do not go there unless you're invited, and you're not a member unless you're invited by one who is a member to be a member. And you have to be a person of note, most likely, or an influencer within your industry or wherever you are known, whether it be a movie star, a singer, or an industry person, or a politician. And as I recall, and I'm not sure, you can check me on this, Greg, I think it costs $25,000 a year. That's kind of cheap, actually, to be a member. That's the dues.
Oh, you know what I heard? I heard we were there, when we were there Saturday, I had at least 2 people, maybe 3 people, tell me that it was closer to 100, but they weren't 100% sure. But yeah, even 25,000,
I would agree. That might have been way back. I would tend to agree with probably the 100,000. And to VIP, I say this: Bohemian Grove is one of the most exclusive, proprietary clubs in the world. It's centered in the most opulent city on the West Coast, San Francisco. It is a place where you can blend in quite easily, and I'm sure that the door to the Grove, nobody notices who's going in or out of there. And I am assuming that you don't have to show up to the Grove, meaning actually going to the Bohemian Club in San Francisco to become a member. You can do it remotely apart and never show up in San Francisco. But that club is a set club for those who are the movers, as they say, and shakers of their industry. It can be anywhere. It could be people like Silicon Valley. It could be Hollywood. It could be government associations. It could be world politics and politicians of great note and influence. And what do they do there? What is the purpose of the club? Well, anytime you have a club, you have individuals that have come together for a purpose. A club is a purposeful thing. It's to get like-minded people together to work on what they see is an important part of the world that they want to make happen or make a difference in. You know, you have the Peace Corps. They want to make a good impression and a good work in the world. They go out and they take college students that join in the Peace Corps, and then you go out from representing the United States, and you join the Peace Corps to go and help nations in need or localities around the world in need. It's a good organization. But let's compare that to the Bohemian Club, which you have to be wealthy to be part of it. Bottom line.
Fortune 500.
There's no way. And I'm sorry. Go ahead, Greg.
Do you have to be part of a Fortune 500 company, something like that? I mean, you have to be invited, right? You have to be invited by a member.
Well, exactly. It is only by invitation of a vetted member of the Bohemian Club.
But those are the best parties.
You don't get there by putting in an application. What's that?
Those are the best parties. That's how you make sure only people that you want to show up actually show up.
Exactly. And the thing about this for VIP is it is so exclusive that if anybody disagrees, I think within the club, if somebody does not want somebody in there, guess what? They don't get in. If there's a viable reason, somebody invites and goes, oh no, we don't want them because blah, blah. They have ties to Greg Fernandez Jr. and Walter Bradley. We don't want them in here.
Can't have that.
But it's the most exclusive club in the world. But there are many members. Why? Because they want the most powerful people in there. And you know what? It is the most powerful, influential club in all the world. That's what it is. And they meet once a year for 2 to 3 weeks, and no press, except members. And it is, as Greg will tell you, it is highly guarded, highly kept from public view. Nobody, no cameras, except Alex Jones did that one time. Have to say he got through. I don't know how he got through. I don't know what his connections were, but
because he's a Texan.
He had to have. Well, he's a Texan, yes.
Yeah.
I don't know how much that would help me. But
well, we could always try.
Well, possibilities are there.
No.
I'm game.
I know you are, but we're not doing. We're not.
I'm not going to do that. No,
of course.
Really, I won't. But it's interesting to note that this club slowly climbed into power and became what it is today. And I want to look at its evolution and growth, because it did not start out like it is today. And I don't know if the original members who formed the Bohemian Club ever envisioned that it would be infiltrated to the point that it became the most powerful and earth-altering club in all the world, that all the other clubs come under, in my opinion. And that's just my opinion, but I think it is the lead, and that all the other clubs, whether it be Masonics, and you ought to come to Waco, Greg, and see the Masonic temple here. For a small town, you ought to see it.
Really?
It is glorious. I'm going to take pictures and send it to you. You should see it. It is magnanimous.
Tell me why. I need to know more about
because
Waco
it's
for so
got
many
the
reasons.
almost like sphinx-like creatures sitting on the outside of it, made in white. It's a white building, tall, big, and and for a small town like Waco, and it's been here for a long time. That's why I thought, oh my gosh, Texas is the Masonic center of the world, maybe. I looked at that and went, whoa, there's a lot in here. And who did, we had Lyndon B. Johnson, the Bushes. Where did they come from? Texas. A lot of presidents. Eisenhower, guess where he was from?
Texas.
Texas.
Where was Kennedy killed again?
Texas.
Wow.
Do you see the pattern I see?
George Bush, George W. Bush. Yeah, there you
And
go.
I go, wow. And I wonder how many from Texas go to Bohemian Grove? Well, I'm sure there's quite a few, and maybe a few mayors. You never think that the mayor of your city may be dropping off at Bohemian Grove. I'm sure the mayor of San Francisco goes there. Gavin Newsom, where do you think he goes? I bet he goes to the Grove. But you never hear any politician talk about Bohemian Grove
No,
or
and
the Bohemian Club.
well, here's what's even worse. And Shannon's just brought up something about our buddy Alex Jones, right? So Alex
Hi,
Jones
Shannon.
isn't talking about this. I haven't heard him talk
No,
about this in years, and he was there and he did all this stuff. I mean, that should be. I don't know. I mean, I don't want to tell him
it's
what he should
notable.
do or
It is
anything,
notable.
but
Why doesn't he beat the drum each year?
I
Come
don't
out to the
know.
Grove.
I
We
don't
need to
know.
protest. But the point being, now many consider him, and I consider it a suspicion, that he's part of a CIA.
A lot of people think that.
Uh, it could now that's what I've heard said. Now
Yeah,
whether it's true or not, I don't know.
I don't know
But
either.
there's a lot of people that are CIA that are in the public eye protesting.
True. Very
The
true.
CIA protests with you all along, and the reason they want to protest with you is they want to see where the heart of that is going. They always will want to be in the heart of every movement. They
Right.
infiltrate the
They
Tea
try.
Party.
They try. Yeah.
That's true. And if you're wise, you can see them. And I was in the military, and I was taught how to see. And I won't say anything about how that works. But they can be spotted. But you don't trip yourself by telegraphing. You never telegraph. You just act like oh, and you just keep playing along. That's what they do. The CIA is one of the best infiltration and assimilation groups in the world. One of them. Screw up sometimes, and when they screw up big. That's true also. But when they don't, they are good. And they groom. They can actually groom a group, and they sometimes get in there and try to manipulate people into leadership positions. Of course, that's the way to do it. So you have to be wise when you have a group, whether it's ours, Heart Talk, or anything that's there.
Is
And
is
and
is this like the old-fashioned thing where it's like, you know what, like there's like a group that's getting very popular, so we're gonna come in and we're going to take this group over. The old-fashioned that type of thing, right? Where they see, it starts out as good, it starts out good, and then all of a sudden, boom, it's like We Are Change doesn't look like how We Are Change started now. It looks like it
exactly.
was taken over.
And the thing is, it starts going a different direction than what its inception and heart was about. In other words, they lose their heart. They like the Tea Party. What happened to them? Well, they were taken to some degree, and it didn't become a viable third party.
No,
So
and
they don't have
there's
a convention.
yeah, and there's some that are taken over, and there's some that are purposely started, so that they can gather intelligence on people, on real people. That's what this is for. All of these fake clubs, all these trolls, all the fake news, all this stuff is targeted at real people. It's targeted at
Yes,
people who really care. People who
and
don't want to
sometimes,
throw away care, who don't
yeah,
have dull care, who have real care. We're the ones that are targeted. So that's why I think it's very important to
exactly.
keep talking about things like the Bohemian Grove and 911, Federal
People have
Reserve, John F.
forgotten about
Kennedy.
911.
They
You
have.
hear memoriams on 911, but talk about during the year who really did it. Most people, a lot of people don't believe that it was done on the inside.
That's right.
John would have been one who mentioned,
Yeah.
you mentioned, former bosses there,
Hmm.
who did not accept that and would
He was almost
actually,
crying. He was almost crying when he realized that, you know what, there's something wrong here. But he could
yep.
not admit that what he was told was wrong. He couldn't. And
And,
that's
and
sad.
and I think it was a belief in the United States and the military and everything, not realizing there's a dark side to that and to our government. You look at Epstein. Okay, I don't want to bring current news into this right now with that direction, but and the pedophilia, and who had ties with that? Two presidents, and that kind of shows you the state of the government right now.
Hmm.
It's really strange that you're going to have two presidents that are tied to a businessman that seemed to traffic, maybe not traffic, but involved himself with young girls. And it seemed like when they were around presidents, that these young girls would be around the presidents and it would be around the people involved with him. Like there was a kind of a known factor that Epstein could give you a good time. And I don't know anything about that, although I've seen the photos and the contrivances of the media and people saying it's true, which, frankly, it could all be contrived and all be a lie.
Right.
Because the media is hawking this and they say he's been arrested, but frankly, just because someone's arrested doesn't mean that they're actually guilty, because they have to prove they're guilty. And they say certain things and paint him a certain way in the media. He had 14-year-old girls over. Okay, guess what? I've had 14-year-old girls over. I've had children over.
Guilty.
I'm a father. I've had children.
Nope.
You
Guilty.
could say that. Like, I saw Brad with 2 6-packs and 2 women running down the road just driving free. That could, 2 6-packs of beer.
Oh,
He's
we know how
running
that
down
ends.
with some wild women instead of his wife.
That's
And I have 2 6-packs of Coke, and I'm with my wife and maybe my daughter. He was with a young girl and an older one. And however you say it paints a picture to the people who are hearing it.
Correct.
And they just let their imagination take it to where it should not go, but that's where they want it to go, so that they can get a media reaction. People say, oh my gosh. And that's people who are uneducated, who are not thinking. It's called the sleeping sheeple. They hear the media, they believe the media, they react to the media.
We've got to help them. We've got to help them because
Some people are beyond help.
No, never, never.
Some people are.
Never.
But you can shake them up with the realities. People, let me put it like this. Sheeple are sheeple until the wolf appears in their midst. Then they're running. And if you point out the wolf in the sheep's clothing, they then get nervous and begin going, wait a minute. If you make them doubt the lie, they're closer to the truth.
Right. And so what they've
and that's
been
what
doing.
I want to get.
Yeah, what they've
I
been
want to
doing.
get people to doubt what people tell them.
I got you.
What I tell them. I don't want you to believe me. I want you to find the facts. My idea is to point to them, talk about what I know, Bohemian Grove, which some people go, what are you talking about? and they don't know. Bohemian Grove, is that a place in Germany that grows trees? Well, no, maybe. But the Bohemian Grove is the Bohemian Club, and the Grove in Monterey where they meet. That is the real Bohemian Grove I'm speaking of. And why do I say it? Well, I've read the books that Nixon was there, and the Manhattan Project, which was about the atomic bomb and nuclear weapons, was developed right there in Bohemian Grove. That is where it was. Oppenheimer, heard the name? Was at the Grove.
Yeah, that's a big
All
point.
the people, think about this. Major scientists, come and go there too. Look at what happens after July. Look in the fall. What major things in government And if you see things change in the media, and big media moguls go to where? Bohemian Grove. And they have one mantra: if you want the sheep to follow you, you got to give them the food and the water and the pasture to dwell in. Think about that. They're right now, and I told you in my earlier heart talk
Mm-hmm.
about 1984 and Brave New World.
Yes.
We're not in 1984 yet. We're in the Brave New World portion of existence right now. It's not draconian government dictating how we're going to be, although in the future that will be under the New World Order. Right now, we're in the Brave New World where everything is happy, and let's everybody be happy. Can't we just love one another? Can't we just get along, even though this person may do wrong, and promote it? Can't we just say that's okay? Well, no, we can't. As believers, as I am, and a follower of, I'll say Jesus, but I know him as Yahshua HaMashiach or Yahshua. I can say different things. Yahshua. Uh, he is tantamount to coming back. He's not close yet. It's very near. But the first thing that has to happen is the one who is to take the world into the New World Order must appear. No, it isn't Donald Trump. Don't believe that in a moment. But he will be revealed in due time. And he's going to appear to really appear, truly appear, and most arduously show us that he's the one. Because he will do miracles. He will be able to do things, heal people, I think, imitating the Savior. He will be able to bring peace to the Middle East. He will be able to bring families together. He'll be the miracle worker. However, don't believe it. Because there comes a time when he's going to say, I'm God. And it's going to appear to be so, even so close that it says that even the elect could almost be deceived by him. And then it goes south. The temple is
That's
restored,
scary. That's scary.
it's
That
going to,
I mean, when
yeah,
you think about even the people that walked with Jesus Christ, and they had a hard time taking him seriously, really understanding who he was, and they were with him. That's just a fascinating point for me. It's a constant reminder that I should never, think bad about anybody else or get mad because, or get frustrated, I should say, get frustrated with people who don't
yes.
understand who Jesus Christ is. The people that walked with him didn't either.
And
Some of them.
the reality is, they really noted who he was when they were crossing the lake that time. They were leaving, they were going across. He went to sleep, the storm came. The Son of the Most High was asleep in a major storm. Water was splashing in the boat. They were sinking. And they woke him up and says, don't you want to know? Get up. We're perishing. And he woke up, kind of probably shrugged a little bit and goes, what? Oh, you have little faith. What? And then he says, peace, be still. And the storm stopped immediately. And then they were stunned because in the scriptures it says he commands, meaning Yahweh commands the seas, the wind, the storm, and he can quiet them. And what happened? They said, who is this? They began to realize that they were sitting in a boat with the creator of the universe. They began to saying, wait, this is the one that spoke to Moses then. This is, it's, and I bet you they couldn't say it. This is Yadevave, this is him. This is the one who chose Israel, the one who, oh my, they were in stunned shock when he quieted the storm because they knew the only one who could do that. And all he said is, peace, be still. Imagine if you're with a man, you're in a tornado, is coming around you, the storm, the hail is pounding, and he stands up and says, peace, be still, and then it just stopped. immediately. What would you feel about that at that moment? If you would have been in that boat with him, I would have been the same way. I'd be going, what? I'd say, he's a man, a prophet, but he can't be. But he just, no man commands the storm except unless he's, wow. And that was the realization in that boat that day that probably stunned the apostles into almost silence. They probably withdrew from him and were going,
It just got real.
who is it?
Things just got
It
real
stunned
at
them.
that point.
And guess what? You know, in the beginning it says Adam and Eve were cast out of the garden because they were once righteous and they turned from the word.
Mm-hmm.
What's happened is that representation, Adam being the elite and Eve being the world that they draw after them, will also be cast out of this Garden of Eden. They're creating their Garden of Eden, the New World Order, and they shall be cast out from it by the same one who cast out Adam and Eve. And they don't want to deal with that. Some know the reality of the Creator and that the Son came. And they've rejected him and chosen darkness over light. Why? It isn't because Satan led them, it is because their hearts are evil, desperately evil. They don't even know how evil, and yet they hunger to do the bidding of the dark one. Why? Adam and Eve did it. They did his bidding. But he fooled Eve. He didn't fool Adam. Adam just followed after Eve. And if you got a righteous guy, the way to get to him is get to him through his woman. Always remember that. That's always true. If evil wants to get to you and you're doing the right thing, and you got a woman in your life, Satan will try to use her. Guaranteed. May not be major, may be subtle. May be, you might not even be aware, hardly. But always be on guard. It's not that your loved one is trying to ditch you or lead you astray, but sometimes, even unaware, they can do that. And true for women with men. We have to be on guard. And getting back to the business of the Grove.
Mm-hmm.
The Grove is still meeting right now. In fact, you could go there 3 weekends when they first start, the next weekend, and then the next, and it would be going, ongoing. The wind down is when they're relaxed. Because how many people go to the Grove when it's the 3rd week? And they know this. Why not show up then? They know. They watch things. But for those who are not understanding where we go, like 9/11, 9/11, many engineers across the nation said those buildings could not fall like they did unless it was what? A controlled demolition. That is what happened to the World Trade Centers. They were brought down not by 2 aeroplanes, not by Muslims, but by those who were here that wanted to bring it down, to start a movement and to start a war. Hitler did it in Germany by dressing Germans in Polish uniforms and attacking German installations. False flag. Your books, Greg. False flag. We are in a false flag world, and it happens nearly daily, and we're unaware of it. Every day, there's a lie and wool being pulled over the people's eyes who are not watching and thinking that it's all a ruse to get them as a group to move a certain direction. They look at people as sheep and cattle. When you have sheep and cattle, you know how to move them if you are the rancher who's working with cattle. The one thing that works is noise, or making them fear, and cattle will run away from the fearful event and get away from it. And if the rancher wants an area clear, he knows what to do. So those in government, can look at us like cattle and say, we need to cull the herd, cut it down a little bit. We need to do this. We need an event to get their attention so we can tell them what to do and what to believe. Do you think that 911 got America's attention?
Yes.
It did.
Oh yeah.
And then who immediately started saying it was who? Oh, it was Muslims that came over here attacking us here in America. And they knew all the names. They knew everybody that was on, where they came from, what they did, what their organization was. And how many times in a situation like that, in any event such as that, do you just happen to know everything right up front?
Yeah.
Ever. That. And then Building 7 went down too. Oops, but it wasn't hit by a plane.
No, they should have just blamed it on Trump, and then, everybody would just take it seriously. I'm still waiting for that to come. It's coming.
It may. But the thing is, this thing about Russia and a collusion with Russia was all the Democrats' idea, in my opinion. And it seems like Dianne Feinstein quieted down quite a bit, as she should. And this ruse of American politics that tries to beguile the people with all the bull that they're putting out there right now. They are passing stuff, and when they want to get something through Congress quick and clean, they do something major to distract. They don't want anything, the media, and the media leads the way so that Congress can do what they do, whatever it may be. And Congress gets their marching orders not from the president or the people. Otherwise, this would be a different United States. They do not answer to the people except in public arenas in a way, and then they have the scapegoats that they throw out there to show, oh, we're standing for good. But a lot of times, it's not really the way it is in Washington, the way they portray themselves and show themselves, in my opinion, because of the biggest example I can say is, what changes after the election year? Well, a few faces in Congress.
The policies?
It'll either go to the Democrats or it goes to the Republican way. But like change that we need, for example, the border situation in immigration and those illegals that cross over secretly. How long has that been a policy and they say they're going to work on it? That's been since I was a kid. And my nephew was on the border as a border patrol agent. It's not a pretty place.
That's tough.
Because
tough
a lot
job.
of times it's not just immigrants and people poor trying to just get in here and make a good living. There are mules that are packing, individuals over here that have paid their life savings to come to America. And they come through cartels, drug cartels, and they're packing drugs to help pay their freight to come in here and get in this country. And a lot of them die. And the wagon train of people that have been coming up here from Nicaragua and then southern central and Mexico, and they've been, here at the border, you hear all this stuff that look at how Trump's treating them and things like this. This started back when Bill Clinton was in office. He signed that bill. And no, it wasn't Clinton that decided to do that.
Clinton
Guess
fooled
who was
me. Who?
Well, no. Guess who the bad guy really is in all this? It always gets away with it, and the president takes the lightning rod.
You're right.
Congress. The reality is Congress.
Mm.
And where do congressmen go each summer in July? A lot of them. Bohemian Grove. Therein, people,
You think so?
is our problem. Of course.
I mean, but active people in government aren't supposed to go there, right?
Why not? Why should they stop going to Bohemian Grove in their opinion?
As long as
That's where all the power is. That's where all the money is. That's where they can find out how to get reelected.
Well,
if you're getting,
right.
if you're an up and comer,
Hmm.
I wouldn't be surprised if Beto O'Rourke showed up at
Don't
the
say
door.
that. Now, here's that brings up a big thing is, we've been told for so many years that it's just a bunch of rich Republican white men, white
That's
old
not a
men.
Republican
It's not a
enclave. It's
Republican thing though, right?
Democrat, it's Republican, it's Tea Party, whomever.
Right. Those are
You
just
know, I'll tell
labels
you this.
for us.
I'll
Those
tell you
are
what this.
yeah.
I'll tell you. Let me say something. Remember Prohibition?
Mhm.
Guess who was involved in it? Congress, police officers, and the police would tell the people who were running the speakeasies, the mob or whoever, we're going to raid you in 2 days. Get all your people and all the ones you don't want hit out of there. And they would raid it, and the mob would pay them generously for keeping things on the level. Our government is corrupt. There are some good people in there that are pushed to the side because they don't follow the agenda leading up to the event, which is being planned for probably centuries. I don't know. But there are those within our government that have been there forever that are corrupted to the core. You can't always find them. You can point to a Democrat, but it might be a Republican. You could point to anybody, and it could be an aide. It could be that is coming from the Pentagon. Because guess what? Guess what the most powerful military, one of them is in the world, is the United States military. If they told the president and Congress, if you don't shut up, we're gonna take some actions y'all are going to regret. And all they'd have to say is something just like that. And believe me, that would get some attention. The government could be run by the military behind the scenes, including Congress. Have you noticed that the budget of the military never really ever gets cut? They get what they want. I remember that. I was on board a submarine. I told the captain I need this, but they say we don't have it in the budget. He said, "We'll have the money. We don't need a budget. We just get it." So the military truly doesn't have a budget. Now that came from me. That's in my honest opinion. They don't have a budget. They get what they need because they have the power. They have the, you talk about secret societies, they've got secret assassins that come from the military that are so good that you would never know it was an assassination because they make it look like something else. So, that being said, the Bohemian Grove has military folk that show up there from around the world that talk with each other. In public, oh, Russia is out to get us, we got to build up. And in Russia, they say, oh, Americans, we got to watch out, they're coming after us. But that's dealing with the cattle and the sheep, as I told you before. As you've seen a picture of Putin and George W. Bush, the younger, they're in Masonic robes, chit-chatting and laughing. Who knows what about? But the point being is that in these clubs, they're all members that look out for each other worldwide. And yet in the public's eye and in the media, they show division and, oh, no, look out. We're going to do this. America's doing that. And we, the people, suck it up. But in reality, when you're behind those things like I was, it's a little different world. It's not what you see. And it's not that people are sheeple, but they try to treat them like that and make them believe everything is okay. It's the other guy. It's those Russians. It's the Russian collusion with, oh, Trump. But the Russian collusion goes in with Congress. Because who deals with foreign governments more than anybody else? Is Congress. Is there Russian collusion in there? Yeah, I bet you there is.
Mm-hmm.
And Chinese collusion. German. British. You don't ever hear them worried about the British collusion, but there's some there. Why does the president, once elected, always go to London and meet the Queen? Well, that's an interesting thing. Remember the three cities, Greg, that rule this world?
Mm-hmm.
What are they?
I don't know.
Let's bring up to the people. You do
I
too.
don't. I don't. And I'm not 100% convinced on the three cities, but I have heard you talk about this.
They do have the flag with the three stars. That's the Vatican, Washington, D.C., and the Bankers that in London. Those three cities, those people go to the Grove. Do you think the Pope goes to the Grove? Maybe not. You think a representative does? Could be. Because he considers himself what? God on earth. Would he want a representative at the Grove to help direct his subjects? Interesting thought. But he has people everywhere too. The Jesuits, and those who are the warriors. And guess who the head pope now is? A Jesuit. So there are so many layers to the onion of the New World Order that it's hard to touch one without touching it all. And Rome is a part of it. And, we still have a Senate and a House of Representatives. Guess what that's based on? Rome. Nearly every country in the world still works on the framework of what Rome did in its ancient time. And you have to realize that when the Bible speaks about these things, it's speaking about reality. The reality of the world you live in. Babylon. Well, where's Babylon? That's dealing with Iraq and Iran. And what's the center in Israel? How come the whole world is always concerned about Israel, Iraq, and Iran, Persians, and all of this? It's because they have input. Where are the four angels judged and bound? In the Euphrates. Even Ronald Reagan wanted to go find them. Couldn't do that because they are hidden from the sight of men. But they are there. What is in Antarctica? Why did John Kerry go to Antarctica? Who knows? Even Barack Obama at one time went to where? Antarctica. What in the world is in Antarctica that major politicians go to? And ties in with the Grove. What is it? Who is down there? Or what is down there? They can make up any story. Say, oh, we were down there just to look at some major finds. Well, yeah, there's some major stuff down there. That's where some major angelic hosts are chained up and been cast. Listen to that about Stephen Ben Nun. Look him up. Stephen Ben Nun talks about the judgment that led to those being outcast in Antarctica. This is biblical. This is things that people don't understand. And this is all based on the Bible. All things are coming about in accord to the will of the Most High. Now, some would disagree with that, but if you read the Bible, you will see the links that tie into this world that show we are headed in the same direction that the Bible says we are going. To one world ruler who will rule with absolute authority over the whole earth, and he will be anti-Christian, anti-religion, except the religion that worships only him.
Is that what brought you out to the Bohemian Grove? Was it knowing all of this stuff? Like, what really got you thinking, not only that, okay, this is real, but hey, why not go out there with a couple of crazy guys?
Well, what really got me out there, in being honest, I didn't like poking the lion. Meaning, that's a representation of evil there. And even the Indians, as you recall, said the area where the Grove is was really a place they avoided, from what I have heard in the lore of California. Why is that? It was an evil, dark wood that many of the Native Americans there would not go. Why? What is in the Grove? But get it now. They wouldn't go there because of the evil there, but now the whole world is meeting there. Do you see a connection? I do. And that's kind of what drove me to go out with you that summer in 2012. I'm saying I'm going to the heart of earthly evil. And here, I would not go in there and celebrate with them anything. Why? Because it is an evil place that draws unto itself what? Evil. So those who go there and congregate are the congregation of the anti. Oh, yes. That which is against the Most High, who want to run the world their way and not the Father. They want to take it away from Him and take control of it and make it theirs. And they want to be not just men, they want to be gods. They want to be living forever. That's why the science is going about tracing out the genome. It's not just to find out how life is. They want to create people that live forever, create a superhuman race. Even if it means making them part cyborg, meaning part machine, part human.
Yikes.
This world is being directed from Bohemian Grove. A lot of it, a major part of it, is coming right through there. When you talk from China, how they act, Russia, how they act, it's all, to some degree, either minorly or majorly, orchestrated to reach a certain end. And the public at large, who is not part of the inner circle of rulership, cannot see what they're doing and how they are being played. Have you ever been in a group of people where you have a few of the people that think they're part of this group, but there's this inner circle of group that are just making them think they're part of the group? Have you ever heard of that?
Yes.
And they manipulate them to get whatever they want out of them, and then it's over, and then boof. Well, whatever, man. Nothing's wrong, man. We're just not hanging today. We'll see you later. And all of a sudden, you're out. Once you've met the quota of what they want, then you're gone. And there are some girls and some guys who know exactly what I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. You thought you were part of the, quote, in group, and then they played you for a reason that they wanted to get out of you, maybe to get somebody else in the group or something, and they do that, and then you're out. Gone. So that's the New World Order. And several people who are forming it don't know, but soon they will be out and won't be in like they thought they were, whether it be the bankers of London, Rome, or Washington, D.C. The three city-states, Washington, D.C., Rome, or the Vatican, and London. They have a flag, flies in Washington, D.C., flies in Rome at the Vatican, and flies in London. The 3-star, yellow star, red flag. Look it up, people. Look it up. It's real. I met a man in the clinic in Waco here. He started talking to me. It made me very, very wary, because he started talking about stuff like we talk about, but he was leading me with his blah, blah, and he was saying, and he said, we think like, and blah, blah, you know this and that. And I would mention something, he says, yes. And I thought, there's a plant if I ever saw one.
Trying to get you on record to say something.
And I thought, wow, I didn't think, I'd be meeting somebody that would start talking my talk like I do on Heart Talk. Everything, every note. I talked about, well, you know about the 3 cities? Yes, and the 3, I went, whoa. He knows everything I know. At least 4 of these, oh, pardon me.
It's okay.
That was looking at the gasifier and have it on video here. Accidentally hit the play on that. But
A
anyway,
gasifier. What is that?
gasifier is using wood to burn off to get certain fumes, and then using that to run your engines. You can do that. You
Ah,
can
I
store
like
that,
that. No,
and
I
it's
didn't
just
know that.
using wood pellets or wood. They used them in World War II when fuel ran out. You could use wood and process it, and the fumes from burning wood could be then channeled off and used to run your vehicle. Don't need gas.
Well, I don't think they're burning wood at the Bohemian Grove. They are peeing on wood. If they peed on wood and then burned it, would that make any difference? Would that be better? Would that give you more fuel? Or would they give you less
Mm,
fuel if it's wood that has been peed on?
well, I would just say that it would make it probably something that would be good for fertilizer.
Oh, okay.
But I'm sure they have a lot of beer and a lot of liquor flowing out there and a
Oh,
lot
yeah.
of the best food in the world
We heard
going
so
around.
many just bottles, bottles. It was raining bottles basically. And as far as food, we heard that there's a lot of waste, that they're wasting a lot of food. They're wasting a lot of, just not only food but plates, the silverware, dishes, blah blah blah, all that stuff. There's just a massive waste, and it was, we were told by one person that it's just a bunch of really old men, pretty much almost like zombies, just walking in lines and just going from here to there. And there's like empty plates. There's people that aren't at tables. There's like empty tables. It From what they were saying,
Yes.
it's dying down, and these old white men are dying down with them. Now, I don't believe that. And I don't believe that it's about old people. I don't believe that it's about white people. I don't believe that it's about anything like that. I think it is a power structure. There is some type of a power structure that maybe even the club members don't even know about. It's so multi-layered. It is a spider's web. And if you look at the
Yes.
the spider's web, you got to find who the spider is. That's why that's why they don't want weaving spiders to come to the grove, because no spider wants to see another spider in its web. That's it. You
You
have to
said a
do their
very
thing. You have
good thing here. And the spider weaving its web. Now, I'm going to share something that I told you about. I've met a black eyed person before. I've told you this,
yes.
a real one. And it's not a pleasant experience. But it was in broad daylight. It wasn't a child either. It was a type of entity. Why I was shown this of the father, I don't know. But it was a woman, and she was in San Francisco, bumped into her, and then she ran away. I just looked at her and said, whoa. It didn't frighten me, but I saw totally black eye. And she had this look of fright in her face, and then pulled her cloak back over her face and just ran and was gone. After I saw it and thought about it, I thought, whoa, that was weird. So the thing about the Grove and about the old men, that might be something they're saying to throw people off the Grove.
Mm.
Because if you don't want anybody bugging you and you're a powerful group, what do you say? Oh, it's on the wane, it's all going down. Oh, they may make a big leadership change and say it's all going to pot, make up a big brouhaha that looks like something that's collapsing, when in fact they're just putting the wool out to make you think that it's something that is going wrong and it's over. How do you get ultimate power is make people think you've lost it when you still have it. Think about that.
Right. That's right.
They say America is waning, and you hear them showing all this stuff about America losing power and that Russia and China are about to take over. I think Americans like to lie to make them think that and then show them something that they didn't think was coming. I think that's true about Russia.
Huh. Yeah.
I think that Russia, the United States, and China all work together in some form to bring about the ultimate end game, as they talk. You've heard the end game
Mm-hmm.
or the event. I've seen that on the internet. The event,
The
the
event.
event, the event. What are they talking about? Well, that's the change from freedom to the one religion, the one new world order, and everybody submitting. And those who don't submit, they quit. They make it where they go away. And getting at the event to where they can then enforce that. That means like Germany did, but in a worldwide sense. Anybody who disagrees is brought to a place, a center, and they're dealt with. If you don't bow, we will bury you. And that will come to that point where believers and followers, whether they be Muslim or Christian or any religion or any faith or any belief system, if you don't believe this way, our way, well, we have a means of dealing with that. We want you to become right with us. It's going to sound very plausible. We just want everybody to get along together. We want everybody to be at peace. Don't you want peace? Of course you do. See, we are of one mind. You need to join us because we're here to make it good for who? Not just you, but for everybody. But if you disagree with us and turn away, or if you believe that Bible stuff, well, we're going to have to deal with that. And they will. Because the Father will be taking his Spirit away, and he will use the world to take us away. We'll be beaten, we'll be hated, we'll be killed. And we'll be marginalized to nothing. As you see in the media today, every body who is envisioned as a Christian in the media is denigrated and made fun of as though they're a dope. Look at how they view us. And that's how the world is going to go. And where does it begin? In a lot of these meetings, Bohemian Grove. In a very evil place that Native Americans would avoid because of the evil that was there. The evil that was there draws the evil there to work out evil means. Bohemian Grove, the reason I went to Bohemian Grove is because what dwells there needs to be faced and confronted. Because it is the face and confrontation to Satan. Because Satan goes to Bohemian Grove. Evil shows up at Bohemian Grove to subdue, suborn, and destroy mankind and lead them to the New World Order, and where Satan will come, dispense with all the ones he used to get it, and replace it with his demonic horde, who then will turn it into 1984, and then it will be run his way. So that was why I went to the Grove in the final thing. But people must realize this is a spiritual battle in every sense of the word.
Okay,
you cannot. Yes.
So after going there, did it change how you felt about it? Did it change how you felt about the people that were also looking into this stuff?
I was disappointed some in the people that were there.
Why?
Not you. Because of their actions. Here's the backside to this. I also pray for those people in the Grove to come to their heart and senses, the true heart of the Father. We are to love those who hate us and spitefully abuse us and do all manner of evil against us. The Son said, you are to love them. We have to understand, we can protest evil, but we must not bring evil with it. Because when you're mocking them, or when you're actually denigrating them, you're denigrating yourself. Even though, yes, what is coming there and what they're doing is evil, you don't want to act evil to confront evil, because the Father will not bless that. We are to love them that are in the Grove. That sounds counter to what we're doing, but it is not. If we're of the faith, we are to love them because the Father blesses them with good, even though they're evil. How much more we who are amongst them and from this world should do good unto them who are evil. No, we don't join their evil and join in it. And no, I'm not telling people you should go out there and party with them and do that. No, but we are to love them. How? We bring them the truth. We protest because we're bringing truth to them. That's what this protest was about to me. Bringing them the light of truth. That they are wrong and we know it. They're not hidden. We know what goes on in the grove. We know what they're planning because it's been written about. We have read the book, the Word of the Most High. We know where this is going. They think they have the inside track. No, they're on the outside trying to get on the in. So we would want one of them to be saved and be a brother because it's just like Saul of Tarsus. He was out there killing the believers and those who followed the Master. But the Son saved him as an example to us today of how to look at people. The very worst person in the world who hates you and wants to kill you and abuse you and thinks you're nothing but, excuse the expression, you're just a sack of crap to me. I'd rather throw you out than take you out as a friend. I'd just rather just kill you. And the Father tells us to love them. So we must also remember when we're protesting that we are not to lower ourselves to a point of mocking, of hatred, or making crass statements about them as people. Because on the other side of the coin, there's a lot of us that have benefited, believe it or not, from what some of those people have done. And that's true. Although they do evil, by the fact that they're in the public, they will do good. They will do some things that help the common man. And we can't forget that with evil there is good, and with the good there is evil. I have met some people sometimes who are the most vile people in the world, but treat their children and friends and family and those on the street and those they meet like gold. Never abusive, never negative, and the Father would commend them against some believers and Christians and those who follow the Word based on the behavior he sees in that wicked one, and then the behavior of those who claim to know him and those who even do know him. I've had to face this in myself. So that was what I was describing as the disappointment. Seeing people go not with the heart of truth, despising, bringing the fact of they're doing evil like we're all so great. We all fail, and we all have to face our failings. And I'm not saying that we should not protest evil, because John the Baptist was going around preaching, and when he saw the tetrarch, he said, "Hey, you're with your brother's wife. That's unlawful. You should not be." And many people, "Oh, it's none of your business to be talking about stuff about people's." John the Baptist preached the truth and told it the way it was. It was not faulted by the Son, saying, "Oh, he shouldn't have preached that." He preached the gospel and the way to live. And that's what I like to do. That's the way it should be. We should not denigrate, even though I don't like what maybe the Rockefellers do. But the Rockefellers have done a lot of good for the nation and for the people at large. Yes, they have an agenda, and behind that they're working on other things. And they started the Trilateral Commission and all of these things, which are working to chipping people and making the New World Order a reality. They don't realize they are owned and that the believers understand them and know them. So that was my disappointment, and why I was disappointed, to answer your question, is because many people need to reflect the love of God and the Father, because he could have reflected his judgment, and he did contend with the Pharisees, but he didn't bring judgment. He just told them their ways were evil, your ways are wrong, you're going the wrong way, And well did the prophet speak of you. You draw near with me with your lips, but your hearts are far from me. So we cannot reflect that. And that's why I say that. The Bohemian Grove has a lot of people who are evil, and I do dare say there might be some that will be saved, and there are some that may be believers who are on that inside, and they're praying and reaching out to them. I don't know that, but the Father goes where most do not. And if I was invited to the Grove, I would go. By a member. Why? Because I wanted to be part of the Grove and all that? No. But to say, why do you do these things? You know that some of this is not good. Some of it, some people may be doing not an innocent, evil thing here, and may be innocent of evil. But within it, there's also a lot of evil. So we have to look at things in a balanced way. And I hope that many of you who may disagree with me on how I'm saying this will understand that I'm not speaking from a perspective of wrong and right. We've got to stand against the wrong, but to realize that we're also dealing with people that are made in the image of the Most High, and that they have been deceived and need to see a light that can get them out of darkness. Wouldn't you agree with that, Greg?
Yes, I would. I would. And that is a continual test.
It is.
Until the
end. It is.
Yeah.
And that is our daily test.
Yes, it is.
It's to react to people that treat us badly, and there's a lot of people that will. Because you look different, because you're Hispanic, because I'm a white, privileged male that's rich. And you get all that thing,
yeah.
And you know how the immigrants look at it. America's the land of the rich, who everybody has money and a car. And they don't realize, no, it isn't. It's a land of great poverty and depression and sorrow. And a lot of people are medicated due to the great distress. And some of it's brought on by, guess what? The media. Look at how much media stress comes out. If you ever want to de-stress, get away from a radio,
Amen,
the iPhone, the YouTube, and get out in nature and turn off your mind to the news. Because
come out to the Bohemian Grove.
Yeah, well, sometimes you got to. But realize, have you ever been listening to something about what's going on, and immediately you're feeling anger just build like steam, and you just want to hit something, or you wish death upon them. You are just,
it's anger.
And that's not,
it's anger.
And where can you put that anger? Where's it going to go?
To everybody
Well, the
else.
only place it can go is it's going to affect the people around you,
right?
Your loved ones. So you have to disconnect sometime. The way the Son did it, he was the Almighty, but yet he would run off and pray. And he had the most important job in all the world. He had to bear the sins and testify of the evil and tell us the right way to go. And yet he would get away, and he would get away and be gone in prayer all night, would be gone, and would get off to himself and the Father and would say, what do I do? Because he was yet a man, and he had to ask like us daily, Father, what is your will? So people out there, you may not believe in the Savior, but you do believe in right, and that's good. And I'm thankful for VIP and all of those out there who know good and question these things, question more. Do not believe me or Greg. It is not what we teach to believe, and follow us in this program and our thoughts and ways. The thing we want you to do is go and look for yourself and tell others about what you find that is the truth. I know the truth. Greg knows the truth. It is a man who was a creator, who came and walked among us to bring us together, not divide us, but not bring us together with evil, but with good and righteousness and peace and respect and honor for that which is good and true, while pushing away that which is evil. That is the right way to unify. And many out there are going, oh, listen to this guy talk. Well, I don't talk this way because I thought these words up and thought, this is what I've got to say, and I planned it. It came from the Bible. It came from seeking to do what is right. And it's not because I'm right, it's because the words that work in me talk of the righteousness, while I, being yet a sinner, can bring forth truth, which is a great oxymoron. And one of the greatest conundrums I think of life is that the Almighty would work through sinners, broken shards of this earth, to make a great and beautiful people from Israel and from the world, where he creates Israel not just from Israel, but the Israel of the Father, those who follow after the faith of Abraham, whom I named my son after. And I named him Orion after the constellation, to say, just like Abraham, he looked at the stars and the Father promised him, your seed, your people will be as the sands of the sea. And look at him today. He honored that promise. Look at it. If you ask the Father, even as an unbeliever, and say, Father, I want to know about you, show me something that can be undeniably you and that I can't deny. And I pray for those who are asking that or who are not and need to see it, that the Father will answer you. Because my love extends to the point that even if you hate me, I cannot hate you. Nor those of even of the Grove or those who oppose us. We are to love them. It isn't easy, and we as human beings can't do that. But with the power of the Most High in the Word, we're empowered in truth, just like the Son was, by the Father, to carry out the mission we are sent to do. And I'm thankful for that. And so those who are in the Grove, we need to protest the wrong they do. But we also need to recognize the right that they have done. And we also need to stand in ourselves in truth and not condemn arbitrarily or in hatred or in mockery. And that's my stand. I don't stand against people. I stand against evil. We all have it. I have to stand against it in myself, and I will stand against it publicly and stand against it at the Grove. But I will not and do not wish to denigrate the people who are going in there. They're people just like you and me. They wear pants, they're regular people that have power and money given to them, not by themselves, but by the Father. He's the one that gives them the wealth and the power to do the things they do. However, they turn it to evil instead of giving him the praise. We are to pray for them, love them, and help them see that there's a better way out there. And it is a better way when you follow him. Even if you don't know him and you read the Bible and start trying to apply it in your life, you're better off than those who do not. Be careful, because if you carry a mockful heart in doing that, that word is not a book that you read. That book will read you and will bring you down. If you lift your up, you are greater than the book or that the people that the Father chooses, and you say, they're nothing. I could kill them in a heartbeat. I could do whatever I want. Yeah, and sometimes the people will not fight you and will let you do what they do. But remember, there is a judge and a judgment, and on this earth you will not escape either. There is judgment, and there's judgment coming for us all, and we must all look that squarely in the face. And as Walter Bradley, I know that I'm just a human being talking about some important issues here on Heart Talk with Greg Fernandez Jr. And we came together and met at a job in which we were promoting the truth. There were troubles there and wrong there, as we both know. Yeah. But we also recognize we have wrong within ourselves that must be dealt with through the Bible. And that's important. Now, carrying on to this, I don't want to jump on a bully pulpit on it as I just did, but the reality is there's an evil world out there, and you don't have to just go to the Grove to take care of the problem. You can do it in your community. You can do it in your family. You can do it with yourself and your children. You can do it with your circle of friends. It's not about just the Grove, as Greg knows. It's about life and promoting that which will bless life and others. That's what we're to be about. And Greg, that's what I was blessed in knowing you, is to see your focus on those things with your family, your friends, and the circles that you walk in. And I'm thankful for that. And I don't just say it lightly. And I always look at myself as the low end of the totem pole under the faith because I'm a sinner and I know what He saved me from, but yet I still sin. And as Paul said, who shall save me from this body of death? Thanks be unto who? The Savior, who is sitting on the throne right now. He hears our conversation. He knows where we are. He knows our thoughts. He knows our end, and He knows the end of the New World Order. It will not prevail. In the Bohemian Grove, for all they plan, whether it be for evil or for good, because some good comes out of it. The Manhattan Project ended World War II, but it also brought a lot of death, and more people were killed with those two bombs almost than were killed in the war, it seems like. When you're
Changed the
talking about
game.
hundreds of thousands,
Yeah, it changed everything.
nearly, I mean, really, think about that. 100,000 killed with one bomb in just a second.
Fear.
My goodness.
That was a fear
And
bomb.
then, oh my goodness. And the atomic bomb of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, I thought, wow. When I looked at that and I saw the pictures of it, and I saw the hit, and they showed the explosion in Nagasaki, and I thought, oh my goodness, I am watching death in action right now. The evil of war at its worst, when thousands upon thousands to hundreds of thousands die because one nation says, I'm going to do this, and another says, I'm going to do this. And war is a horror.
It is.
As Greg said.
It really is.
It panders itself to whoever will take up its cause. And it's the nations think they'll get some pleasure and good out of it. Well, no, war brings no good to either side. And I say that to Washington, D.C., China, Russia, Putin, Trump, Bush, whomever. And I live out close to Crawford, where the Bush Ranch is. I would never protest Bush, never harm him. I'm a former military person. I would be more apt to protect him from anybody that would try to harm him. And even Obama, I would do the same for him. Protect. If there was a problem, I'm a gun carrying and certified with my license to carry. I would protect the president, former President Obama, Clinton, any of them. If they came under fire or in need, I would be there and I would stand for them. Don't agree with their policies, politics, but I will stand for their life because they're made in the image of the Most High. And that's the point I make to those who go to the Grove. Realize there are people. They have feelings, they have desires, they have thoughts, and they have good thoughts at times. Although, as the Father says, our thoughts seem to be turning continually to evil, and that's why He brought the flood in the beginning, and when the judgment will come at the end. Because at that time the world will be really thrust into a world of continual evil. And that's where we know it will not end. I want to end on a good note saying that through all of this, the Father will triumph and will come and will rule on this earth and will bring it into subjection to His will with a rod of iron and the grace of glory in His people. And I'm thankful for that and His will and His work, because that gives me hope in this hopeless looking world. It gives me hope. And whether there's a meeting of 1,000 Bohemian Groves daily, they cannot overcome one word of the Most High, nor of His plan, because they're all just falling right into the working of His plan as they think they're working theirs. Greg, what do you have to say?
Oh man, I'm just getting ready for tomorrow. Tomorrow we are going to be back out there, and this year, just like every year, kind of has its own feel, and this year has really that kind of very tense feel. And so I'm very curious to see what happens tomorrow, because the deputy sheriff. Okay, so they have a whole new crew, right? They got a whole new group of guards, a whole new group of cooks, of whatever, servers, all these different people. The deputy sheriff is new. It's the first time I've ever seen this guy. Not, he kind of gave me a little grief, and I think in the video that I'm going to show later, I'm probably going to show it tomorrow. Um,
Good.
but it, it kind of shows the way that they kind of treat us. So I'll just kind of leave it at that. But
I
not
remember.
very nice, not very friendly, and you know, they need
They
to
would call it
understand.
professional.
Yeah, they need to understand. Like, okay, what are they doing there first? Second of all, are they on duty? Are they getting paid? Yes. Okay, so should they really be inside of the grove, or should they be outside where we are? You know, I don't know. I've had a couple issues with that. I think this is going to be the last year. Hopefully, this will be the last year that the county actually pays for it. Pays for the deputy sheriffs to be there, and then the Grove reimburses them, or they get reimbursed, whatever. So
Yes.
it's just like, no. If you want to hire your own people to stand and to make sure that two or three people don't try to cross that line, that little property line, great. But you know, it's it's there's no need for any deputy sheriff to be there the whole time that we're there to
Especially a
make
whole
sure.
line of them like we saw.
Yeah, and they are probably there for those whole 2 weeks, whatever, 3 weeks. They're there for that whole time when they could be doing other things. There's a lot more important things that they could be doing. The
I agree.
Bohemian Club has their own group of guards. They have their own team. They don't need anybody else. If it's true that they have Secret Service there, then they definitely don't need anybody else.
Oh, the Secret
Why?
Service is there. Oh yeah,
Well, then
they're
why?
definitely.
Why do they? Okay, well, that's a whole nother issue because I don't see why they are there. That tells a whole nother story. But
There's a big story behind that because there's a lot of different secret services from around the world
yeah,
that are congregating there and are on the outside amongst the protesters.
right. Which is us now, I
Yep.
guess. When it's like, wait a minute, we're just out there asking questions. We're not saying, oh, we're protesting anything. We're not protesting the people that go there. We're trying to figure out what is going on there and why they are there, and why this is such a big deal. Why do you have so
Well,
many people gathering in this one little spot?
well, let me refresh your memory. And one of the things I'll say
Yeah.
is they gather there to plan and to see what is plausible for the coming year or 2 to 3 or 4 years ahead and to see how things are going. All of these meetings around the world, whether it's the Bilderbergers and everything, I think tie into the Grove. And England and the Royals, many of them are tied to the Grove. Now, you won't see Queen Elizabeth showing up there, but would there be a representative from Britain there? I would dare say that absolutely. Absolutely. Would you see people coming from the United Nations? Oh, definitely. So maybe not the top. They would remote in my opinion, because they don't want to think that, oh, we all go there. That'd make us look really bad. Yeah,
Yeah.
it would.
Yeah.
But the reality is, more people are part of the Bohemian Club than are known to be part of it. That's the part that we need to look at. Who is not seen or known of that is part of? Because that is part of their influence. Because there's a lot of influencers that are out there that are part of the Grove, who are paid up their membership, but never show up there. Never talk about it, never do anything about it, never talk anything near. I've always noticed nobody in public ever talks about Bohemian Grove, whether it's any official anywhere. I don't care who it is. You never hear them talk about the Bohemian Club. Have you ever heard the Bohemian Club mentioned by anybody in public? I have not.
Nope. Only when
I
they're
have not.
forced to. Only when somebody actually asks them
And
that question.
why is that? You don't hear them talk about Masonic lodges either, or Odd Fellow lodges. I was in church one time, and a fellow invited me to a club. I said, well, where is it? He said, just come with me. And it was the Odd Fellows, because he knew I was part of broadcasting, I guess, and he wanted me to be part of the Odd Fellows Club. Now, you people would have to look that up because you may not have ever even heard of it. Look up the Odd Fellows. ODDFELLOWS. The Odd Fellows Club. There's lots of clubs around that you don't know about, not just the Masonic, but lots of little clubs that all fall under the umbrella of the secret societies that help each other get into the positions of power to affect their agenda for life. It's not just the Masonic Lodge either. So when you look at this and the 13 Families by Fritz Springmeier, you look at these things in Greg's book, and he has his truth music. Hey, what is your latest publication there, Greg, in your truth music?
Well, I'm still working on the last song. Still working on the last song of this project. So, once that is done, then I do hope to put out something, hopefully around September.
Excellent, excellent. Be sure and post it. We'll talk about it at Heart Talk too.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't want to just promote you, but talk about the music you're there and why you're making the music. What is it about? Yeah, it's about life, but it's about truth too.
Right.
And we need to let people know, because music is what inspires the masses sometimes. It takes a little music. And a movement without music is pretty silent.
Yeah, that's true. Well, speaking of
I'm going to challenge you here.
Yeah, go ahead.
Let me challenge you.
Okay.
I want you to write
Uh-oh.
the heart song theme and music.
Oh, I like that.
I want you to create, for me, a
Okay.
heart song thing. And you say we need to get a logo. Well,
Yes.
I want one. I did one time set up to be with my face and a microphone.
Which I
Maybe
thought was
wouldn't do
good.
it.
Yeah. I thought
You
that
want to
was
do
that
it?
was
If you
good.
want to do it that way, we can do it, and I can send you a pic.
If you still
or
have that
another one.
pic, yeah. Yeah.
Well, if you want to, if I don't know if I still have it, many computers ago. But
I might
but
have it somewhere. Maybe
if
on
you
an
still
old
have it,
computer.
let's put it together and put that on the corner of all our Heart Talk
Yeah, 'cause that was a good one.
videos,
Yeah.
and that would be fine. My fluffy little beard on there, and I'm growing it back again, so it's growing again. I shaved it off for my wife, but my job now allows my beard. In fact, a lot of people at my job have beards, even a few women. So, sorry, ladies, but there are some women that do,
Hint,
and they
hint.
don't hide it.
Hint,
But
hint.
it's not too
Yeah.
great group of people where I work. I'm not going to mention it because they have their own thing, and it's I'm constrained by law. Believe
Oh,
it or not.
okay. Yeah, then definitely
It,
don't mention.
it's it's that tight. They don't
Okay.
bring paper in or out of the facility. You're not allowed to bring paper in. Isn't that
So wait,
strange?
are you working at the Bohemian Grove? Is that what you're telling us right now?
No,
That's what it
heavens
sounds like.
no.
I don't know.
No, not at all.
All right.
Not at all.
All
I'd
right.
love to work there, but not promote them. And
People told us that it's not that difficult to get a job there, but I mean, you have to treat it like a real job, You can't
oh
just
yeah, it is a real job.
But there's like thumbprints, there's like background, there's all this different stuff.
Of course, and I've already had all that. I've been checked so many times, and I got a very high clearance in the government. I was checked out to the ins and outs. They want to figure out if you're going to lie to them. They said, "You ever smoke pot?" I said, "Sure, I have. I tested it. I did. It's not my kind of thing, but I've smoked pot and bought it and smoked it with friends." Would you do it in the military? Heavens no. You got to have a brain to work in the military, or you're dead. And so that I didn't believe how many. I've gone through so many background checks, military wise. That's where the FBI goes out. And I'll
So
tell
you
you
might fit
something.
in perfectly with the Bohemian Grove.
Well, I'm military, and I've been highly vetted, top secret, and anything above that. If you get top secret, you can go above top secret if they need you to.
Oh.
But you've got to be vetted, and they vetted me, And they've had everybody went in my position, and I won't tell you the position, but it was enough. I'm going to talk about it because they debriefed me and said can't talk about it. So you know what I did?
What?
It's what I did. It was I protected our country with all the tools they gave me. That's
Nothing
what I
wrong with
did.
that.
And I had a lot of good tools too. Believe me, I had the best. And like I was saying, on our boat, I said I needed something that was run down, and they told me the budget wasn't there. The captain says, "Budget? We got a budget. When we want it, we get it. That's our budget." Okay. And I got it. I won't say what it was, doesn't matter. But I got what I wanted. I said, "We need it." He said, "Do you really need this?" And I said, "I can show you the need." He goes, "Okay, got it. All right. We'll have it." And we got it very quickly. No problems. Uh, you hear that Congress has budgets.
Mm-hmm.
You know who doesn't have a budget?
Who?
The military. The military. They really don't publish much about what the real budget is. You hear about the military budget, don't believe it.
It's debt, right? They just have debt because they're
Yeah.
not creating money. It's just all
Well, that's what the Federal Reserve is all about.
it's borrowed notes.
Yeah. Well, the Federal Reserve is not. Let me put it this way: the Federal Reserve was there to make money for the Federal Reserve. That's the bottom line.
Mm-hmm.
Second, it's off the American tax system of the United States. So when you get your ID number, Social Security, and you're paying your taxes, that's to pay the Federal Reserve notes. And the more people are born, the more they can borrow, the more they take from your value. And the warehouses are the 50 warehouses they have of people that are stored to pay taxes. Now that sounds rather crass, but that's kind of what it is in a nutshell. Everybody that's born gets a Social Security number to pay taxes to the Federal Reserve, not to the United States government. The government borrows from the Federal Reserve. So we don't pay the government, we pay the Federal Reserve. It's not exactly part of the government. They're the Federal Reserve. And if you ask, is the Federal Reserve part of the government? Well, yes, and you'll hear a lot of answers on that.
It can't be.
Ask
Right.
them what derivatives are.
Right.
That's a good one. What's a derivative? We're derivatives. There's a lot of derivatives out there.
Your
Being born every day.
your mic is cutting out a little bit. It sounds
Oh,
a bit far
sorry.
away. That's okay.
Is it coming back?
Yes.
Oh, good. I've noticed that with you too. It'll kind of fade and come back
Yeah.
in.
That could be the.
I think that's an internet thing.
It could
Something.
be. Yeah.
Oh no, they're not eavesdropping on us. If they are, hi. But
Hello.
uh, we have to understand that the world is based on one thing: money to make the government run. That's the first thing governments think about worldwide. And maintaining their power. So taxation helps maintain their power, and they need a military. So those are the big three of every government. And do you think they concern themselves with the needs of the people? To some extent, yes, they have to make those other things viable. But it's all about control. And if you study the money of the United States and every fiat money, meaning paper money, meaning things without value, but perceived value that are not backed by gold or silver. Anything that's backed by the full faith in established government is worthless. Although, if you believe it has value and there's no runaway inflation, then it has some value, kind of, because you can use it to get stuff. I could walk in with enough $100 bills to buy a car or a house, and people would be happy to take that and go, thank you very much, because it has value to them to buy what they need from the full faith in the government of the United States. But if I said I don't take dollars because they're worthless, I have every right to do that. You don't have to accept money from any paper source. You can say, give me silver dollars or gold or copper, or I don't take that paper because it's a newspaper. It says there's $1 and it celebrates our country with a pretty picture of somebody from the past and has neat little quotes on it in pretty colors and patterns. But it's absolutely worthless, which is the truth. Except we do give it value by the faith in the government. And what does the government do? They go out and get commodities to pay off debt. How do they do that? I won't go into it right now. That's talking about war and getting oil and getting gold and whatever else, and going out there and getting technology from ancient sources, things like that.
Right, and using fake money, not real money.
Yeah,
that's the problem.
Yeah, monopoly. They could say we're going to use monopoly money and to be just as valuable as a dollar bill.
Yeah,
absolutely, absolutely. It's just printed pictures and a value placed on it.
It's 1, 2, 3. It's a promise.
Just like children do and make dollar bills and draw and put on pretty pictures and say, this is $100. The government is doing that. They print $100 bills and make them pretty and give all those security features to make sure nobody can reprint that worthless piece of paper.
Yep. It's all about the market value. They put a value on this, then everything else is based on that. Well, like gold, like the reason why I've never gotten serious about gold or silver or anything like that is, how is that going to help me if I can't eat? How is that going to help me if I need a gun? Like things like there's certain things that I'd rather have before I have some of those things. I mean, if things get really bad, do you really think that my gold or my silver, that I'm going to be able to take it to somebody if it's really that bad? I mean, yes, definitely I have some, but I don't have a lot. I'd rather have a lot of other things. I'd rather have a lot of foods. I'd rather have a lot of water.
I agree.
I'd rather have a lot of
And that's true. You
bullets.
Should have, as my dad said, have a little gold and a little silver.
Yeah.
Don't hoard a whole bunch thinking you're going to do good, because somebody will come and take it from you. But the reality is you have to have a little gold, you have to have a little silver, you have to have a little land, and you have to have a source of water.
Right.
You know why? Because when you take away all the gold, the silver, and everything, and you got land with water, guess what you got? You got land with water. And guess what land with water can do? Yes, grow things. Your family and the properties they have. That place is a sanctuary for you, is it not?
Yes.
In California. Absolutely. Why? Because it's land. And I bet you're close to water. And I bet you, if you needed to, you could live off that land. Isn't that true?
Yep.
That's right. If you have a little land and a little water, that's all you need. And you can throw up a tent and build up something to live in. Doesn't take much. And there's a cat here.
Oh,
hello,
wow.
Chili.
All right. Got another cat cameo. So who is this cat? Chili?
Yes. This cat's called Chili. He's a male cat.
Hey, Chili.
That is a very vociferous cat. Are you Chili?
Chili. Chili Willy.
Are you Chili? Are you Chili?
Yeah, we had some major issues with our cat. I don't know. She's having some digestive problems, I think. So.
Oh, no.
Yeah, she's becoming the $1 billion kitty.
Yeah, we had a $700 kitty. And the, what was it?
I think we passed.
Kitty.
I think we've passed.
And then there's that, and there's the soft paws we put on them at $35, just to cover their claws in cute little.
Grooming.
Like,
it's really grooming. That's our cat's biggest problem. Well, it's digestive plus grooming and everything, but still, it's people. If somebody wanted to start their own company, they could make a little grooming service or something.
Yep, grooming service for cats.
Grooming service for cats that will come to your house, because there's a lot of places you can take it, blah blah blah, but yeah.
And that's important. We have vets out here that come to our house.
Yep, and that's how you got to do it.
And they'll come up. It's not cheap.
No, it's not. No.
Just to show up is $65 in, plus the cost of service. So, and we got a good one.
That's good.
A couple of them. We called Ramsgate, and then another that's just close by that drops in and will check them out for us, and we're happy to have them. Cunningham in Waco, Texas, good guy. And, and kind of in conclusion,
Mhm.
you know, there's a Bohemian Grove in every state. There's a place where meetings are done, and probably in Austin, Texas. In every seat of government, you're going to have a seat of evil in the midst, manipulating things. Bankers or politicians or those who are seeking to get something and achieve their aim. Might be an evil one, might be a good one even, but it has to be done the right way. But I've known people, I remember when I was going to the Republican office in Belton, Texas. They were going out to a constituent to deal with an issue. I don't know what the issue was, but this person had wealth, and several Republicans were going to meet out there. So the reality is, this happens. Now, he's a constituent and he wants to voice his concern about something. That's right to do. And it's right for the Republicans to go marching, and Democrats do it. They'll go out to a constituent, probably who makes major donations. They will listen to that person. And rightfully so. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it.
Mhm.
But when it then overshadows or overreaches into the point of it kind of overthrows the people in any area when it's necessary and right. If that happens, then it's wrong. It's not always wrong. I want to be clear on that.
Mhm.
And that's that's the real reality, I think, of the world. Is we have to realize that evil people do good things and good people do evil things. But it's in the hands of the Father, and I pray to do the right thing all the time. That's a hard thing, and you can't do it on your own. You have to have the help of the Word, the Scripture, and do it right. There's a lot of people say, well, I do the right thing all the time. I don't read the Bible. Well, it's still a gift from the Father on high because you knew there was a right and wrong, which was in your spirit written of the Father. So whether you've read the Bible or not, it's a gift of the Most High. And with that, Greg, what do you want to say to close out this session of Heart Talk?
The only thing that I would want to say to close this out is, first of all, I hope that you can end this with a prayer, because
Oh, yes.
we are going back there, and I hope that everybody will pray for us. I know we have a lot of people praying for us just to have a safe trip there, have a safe trip back, to find out
Absolutely.
what's going on, to do anything that we can do to really try to understand what is happening there and to make sure that there's nothing evil happening there. That is a big thing, that we're not accusing people of doing anything evil, but we do want to make sure that no evil is done there. It's very important when you have so many people gathering there, and these prayers are very important to make sure that that we stay on the right track, to not try to act like we know what is happening or what isn't happening, but to just let God guide us, to just let Jesus Christ guide us, and we just go there. And that's why I go there personally. I don't speak for anybody else, but that's why I go there, is because I feel, for whatever reason, Jesus Christ has put me in a spot where I can go there. Not many people can, and I know that there are hundreds, probably thousands, maybe even millions of people that would love to go stand outside with us. And every
Yes.
time that we're out there, I feel it. It doesn't feel like it's just us out there. It's a very powerful presence. It's a very spiritual presence, because I know that God is with us out there, because we're not out there to try to tell everybody that we think what is going on. We are out there to truly understand what is happening here, and to let people know that we are here, that if there is evil going on in there, people are going to know. God is going to know. That is the most important thing. Everybody is going to have to stand before God and confess their sins, and
That is correct. Absolutely.
nobody hides from God. So they can lie to us, and usually, if they lie or if they play games, things happen. that show them don't do that. Don't be like that. There's nothing wrong with just being honest, with just saying, "Hey, you know what, guys? There's nothing weird going on here." And those are
That's what,
usually the people that we end up having a good talk with, is the club members or the guests that are like, "Hey, it's just a bunch of guys hanging out, blah blah blah." So it's to create a dialogue to keep the conversation going, because it is a big conversation. When you consider certain things um, that might be going on there, it's important to understand the secrecy of this club, and how this
oh
club
yes.
was not really secret, and then it was almost like, oh, there's nothing going on there. You still have people that think that there isn't a 40-foot owl there. You still have people that think that there isn't the cremation of care there. You still have people that think that the cremation of care does not involve a life-size wooden person or a metal person, whatever it is, being burned before the 40-foot owl. This stuff is real. Whether you think that it's happening because of whatever, you can't start there. But a lot of people don't even want to get started because they're like, oh, there is no owl. No, they're not burning anything. No, or it's just a play. They try to rationalize it, which is fine, because I'm trying to rationalize it too. Because to me, it does not make sense. And when I watch Alex Jones's film, what they were doing there struck me on a spiritual level. I was at Family Radio, and I was watching Alex Jones's movie. That's where I first watched it, and it changed my whole view. Now, I mean, they probably would have fired me now if they knew that I was watching Alex Jones while I was supposed to be working, making sure that the radio stations were on and everything. But, you know, that's where God brought me. God brought me to a place where He wanted me to see certain things, and Family Radio, working there, really, in the most, I mean, out of everything that I've been through in my whole life, working at Family Radio helped me get spiritually right. All of the other drama, all of the teenage drama, all that stuff, none of that really helped me get right with Jesus Christ. Working at Family Radio did. It changed my whole life. And and that's why with Family Radio I have this love-hate thing where it's like, there's way more good that happened working at Family Radio. I would not change that. But there was a
I
lot of bad
agree.
things there too.
Yeah, and we understand that. But one of the things that I want to emphasize is that sacrifice of care. They're sacrificing, they're making a blood sacrifice in that.
Right.
And they're putting it in the fire. They're putting children through the fire. They are dedicating their energies to a deity, and they're in that. And that is the evil that I see, and that's the thing that drew me there too. Is I know they're worshiping and putting forth idolatry. That is not what we should be doing in any case, anywhere. And that sacrifice of that little quote baby is backed up by the sacrifice of thousands and thousands of children in abortion daily.
Right.
So it's a blood sacrifice, and it could, I don't know, but I think it does, represents a blood sacrifice brought to the deity to give them power. Why? Why do they need that kind of power? What are they doing? Because they are following after Satan and the angels that have fallen, and they are doing it for their own advancement and for advancement of things that maybe they truly don't understand. Or if they do, they know the backstory and are fully supporting the evil that will come. So that's what I say. Because that is what really made me think, wow, they're sacrificing like the old Israelites and the people in the Middle East did. They're sacrificing to false gods, false ones that are idols, that are neither living or breathing. And if they are, they're demonically controlled. How horrible. That's the kind of thing that I think about. And these people are deceived and are blind and don't know their left hand from their right. And they think they've got it all in their hand and they have nothing. It's all in the wind. And they're in the wind and they don't realize it, and it's leading to their destruction. And
Amen.
that's the hurtful thing and the love thing that I think we need to reach out to them and maybe get one to come out. There have been some that have come out of it. And that's the thing that I think about. When I'm protesting there, I'm thinking, I'm protesting in the name of the Father. I'm coming out here to reach and touch one of those that looks like the devil, but they might be the saint that the Father is looking for, just like he chose Paul. One that was killing the believers, killing the followers of the Son who were attacking and taking them to prison and beating them, and was at the stoning of Stephanus. So we need to love those people, because who knows? They might be a brother in a year or two.
That's
And you
right.
don't want to be one where they come back and say, man, where were you? You were protesting. Okay, that, I can understand it. But why all the nastiness?
Amen.
You don't want to be nasty and evil and speaking, like a mocker or one of the worldlings, as I call them. You want to speak as a believer who truly believes in love and extending your hand to your neighbor. And that's what is important. And understanding that they are deceived and they're following an idol, a thing made of wood. Yeah, there are demons that maybe support that, but those demons have no real power over this world, over in their little sphere, which can be quite strong. But we have to understand that who is stronger? Greater is he that is in us than he that is in the world, including Satan and all of his angels and all the powers of earth and of the universe even. When it's compared to the Father, is nothing. So we are thankful even in the losing, because we know in the end he is victorious. And
Amen.
so we go to Bohemian Grove to protest the evil, recognizing what good might be there, but also recognizing that evil is dwelt there in the past and has been noted even by the natives, and that we are there to protest in the name of the Father that that land one day, which is really all the believers' land, not their land, is going to be purged and cleansed and made right again. So that's kind of what I was there praying for that day to come, and looking for hopefully some to come out of that which has deceived them into such foolish folly of following demonic foolishness and going into spiritualism and of that nature. They need to come out. And some are quite happy there and think, listen to him. He doesn't know the power I control. I can say it and it happens. I'm like, wait a minute, I am a God. And no, you're not. And you will pay for that. Because if you take on the robe of the Most High, it's too big, too heavy, too hot, and too much for you. Because it requires righteousness, which we don't have. So with that, I'll close with a brief prayer here,
Thank you.
and then we will go forth to the next time. Heavenly Father, I do thank you for this day. I do thank you for Greg and the pursuit of truth, because that's pursuing you, Father, and your word, and your Son, and the reality of you being creator. I thank you for my wife, my son, and my family, and I pray that you would be with Israel and Jerusalem, and Netanyahu, Putin, and Trump, and all of those who are working together to rule. Father, give them to rule in righteousness and truth, and be blessed in choosing to follow your word rather than counselors of evil. We ask you this in your name, Father, for thy glory and in all things for your plan to be accomplished. Thank you, and let it be done in your time. Amen.
Amen.